All right, folks, good afternoon and welcome to the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN, our affiliates, and we're live streaming on the TuneIn app. We're also live streaming the video. This is just a camera in the studio, folks, on my Facebook page and Twitter account. You can find us on social media at Joe Mangi Show, M-A-N-G-I, Joe Mangi Show. Facebook, Twitter, my YouTube channel, The Joe Mangiacotti Show, my LinkedIn page, and even Twitch TV, Joe M Show. So plenty of ways to listen to the show. Saturday and Sunday mornings at 6 a.m., Mondays at 1. And you can also reach into the studio at any time for two-way talk and conversation at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000 from the Box Drop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. We have a text line up and running, and that is 617-297-8388. 617-297-8388. All right, that takes care of some housekeeping. Phones are open. We've got an hour to cover. Oh, my goodness, there are so many things to cover. Jazz is flying the board this afternoon. Hey, Jazz, how are you?
Hi, Joe.
I
How
caught
are
you in
today?
a yawn. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Yeah, last night was the toss and turn night. Horrible sleeper. I'm a horrible sleeper. All right,
Yes,
folks.
very much so.
Yeah. What's on the top of your mind today? Let's see. I'll pick something to start with.
There's been so much going on. I can't even begin.
This is very true. You know what I'm going to do? Because I talk about this, and I'm not going to let this up, and I'm going to always bring this up because I think it's an incredible epidemic going on here. And this is the fentanyl situation, folks. This is some new numbers are out about the fentanyl problem in this country, and it has and I call it poisoning because people aren't overdosing, right? People are taking what they think and understand is another drug or a fentanyl-free drug, and that's a whole nother discussion. And it's laced with fentanyl, and they are dying because all it takes is a few grams. 4 grains, actually, not even grams. 4 grains of fentanyl can kill a human being. That's nothing, folks. There's enough fentanyl that has come over the border to kill every man, woman, and child in our country. And it's a critical year to address this worsening drug, and it's not an overdose, it's a poisoning. And I don't think that it's hyperbolic or out of line to say that this administration, our government, should to designate the fentanyl crisis as weapons of mass destruction. This would open up a whole host of tools and abilities that would be able to fight this. It's not a situation of somebody who's an addict and they just did one too many and they passed away. That's a whole different situation. This is a poisoning. This is a poisoning. As COVID-19 pandemic continues to devastate families and communities across the country, we can't ignore the illicit fentanyl is fueling the nation's drug problem and the epidemic, primarily responsible for the deaths of more than 100,000 people last year. Right now, it has become the number one killer for 18 to 45-year-olds. Think about that. Fentanyl poisonings have doubled in 30 states and is 5-fold in 5 states. Now, for teens, they are now 3 times as likely to die from fentanyl than they were a year ago. And among Black teens, 5 times. It's as if this is targeting the Black community. There was a case where the Zhangs, this family in China who manufactures fentanyl, was sued in international court. It was dismissed after a very short deliberation. But I can tell you, if a Chinese citizen had been poisoned by fentanyl, that would have been a whole different situation.
Well, at the end of the day, it's murder.
It is murder. Absolutely, it's murder. That's why I refuse to refer to these as overdoses. And overdoses, you know what you're taking, and what you're taking is what you think it is, and you take too much of it. You take it too frequently, or you take a powerful dose of it, and you accidentally kill yourself. These people we're talking about, they don't know the fentanyl is in the drug they're taking. It's been laced. Any other circumstance, if you lace somebody's drugs or food or drink with a lethal dose of anything, that is murder. And this fentanyl crisis is out of control. And yeah, it's being manufactured in China. It does ship to South America. Homeland Security, the Border Patrol, they'll tell you it is coming through the southern border in clandestine labs. That's where it's being made. Now, it can be aerosol form, and then now they're pushing them into pill form. And there are cases where teenagers have ordered drugs over the internet from China, where they think that they're getting, HDAD medicine or pick-me-ups or something, and they're not. What they end up with is a lethal dose of fentanyl, and they're poisoned to death. 508-871-7000. What say you? It is not overdose. It is poison. Let's go to Mark in Worcester. Good afternoon, Mark. You look marvelous.
You look marvelous as well. I'll get right to the point. I hear that the regime has sent 3,000 troops to protect the border of the Ukraine. I suspect it's more than 3,000, but that's what they're putting out to the media. You know what? They should have sent those 3,000 troops to our southern border 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now they claim they can't do that because it'd be a violation of posse comitatus. That is not the case, because if you look at Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution, it expressly states that the chief executive, who happens to be the President of the United States, is authorized the power to secure our national borders. That means the border between the United States and Mexico.
Absolutely.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Mark.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Absolutely. Good point. And this is what I'm saying, that look, the hypocrisy that we see day after day, folks, right? The ridiculousness of this continued mask mandate, and we'll talk about the Freedom Convoy in Canada, the one here in the United States that they're trying to get going, in what the platforms, the alphabets are doing, Facebook did. We'll talk about the GoFundMe page and what they've done there. But we're talking about all these ridiculous vaccine passports and show everything, and nothing of the southern border. People are just walking over with no idea who they are, who they really are, because we've discovered, the Border Patrol has discovered, they ditch all their paperwork because they may have left, say, Haiti because of the earthquakes, right, years ago. And they've been living in other countries. But now, because of the message that has been sent from the Biden administration, and when they're interviewed at the border, they say Joe Biden said to come. Now, they're not going to arbitrarily watch the news presser at 1 o'clock on a random weekday where he takes the official position and says, I'm telling you not to come. No, the policies have told them it's okay to come. You're not going to be sent back. And they said they were going to send back the men of fighting age. And now we find all this video of them being put onto planes in the middle of the night and redistributed throughout the country. 14 and a half minutes after the hour in the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Boxtrop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. Have to take a quick break here. Back on the other side. 508-871-7000. Stick with us. This find of her home for Teddy's Friends brought to you by Boxtrop Middlesex Mattress Outlet. Today's candidate is Moto. He's a 4-year-old male terrier American Pit Bull mix. tan and white and is very much house trained. Moto is an intelligent boy who knows what he likes. Some of his favorite things are strolling leash walks and quiet nights at home. This lovely boy is sweet and laid back, a shy side with plenty of good manners, and expects the same from both human and dog alike. For Moto, this means taking the time to get to know him. Moto is a gentleman who prefers to exchange pleasantries and go for a walk rather than to chest bump the high-five type greeting that more outgoing individuals prefer. He is past that puppy stage and in the prime of his life. Moto is looking forward to living as the only dog in a quiet adult home. Moto's motto is relax and take it easy. If you share the same philosophy, Moto might like to meet you. For more on Moto, click Teddy Goodpat's Facebook page. Pictures and links to the Worcester Animal Rescue League. Find a Forever Home is brought to you by Boxdrop Middlesex Mattress Outlet. Click boxdropmiddlesex.com or Facebook at Boxdrop Middlesex. Hey folks, Joe Mangiacotti here, and I have recently purged and refreshed with new furniture and, most importantly, a new bed. We spend about a third of our life on our mattresses, and it's so vital we have the right one, and we don't break the bank to do that. I first bought a mattress from the big store the brothers used to own, and a power base that moved the head and feet, and then I met John, and I checked out his showroom at 50 Main Street in Ashland and online at boxdropmiddlesex.com, and ended up with a better mattress, a power base that also heats and massages, all for less than half of what I was going to spend at the other place. Boxdrop is a discount mattress store, and John specializes in clearance and closeouts, and he buys directly from the manufacturer with a low overhead and just family employees passing the savings on to you, and you can see it reflected in the price every day. Click boxdropmiddlesex.com or call John on his cell. This is his cell number, 508-579-9303. That's 508-579-9303. And you can find John on Facebook at Boxdrop Middlesex. John loves referrals, and this is the best referral I've given so far this year. Dropboxmiddlesex.com.
If you enjoy listening to Full Service Radio AM 830 WCRN, don't forget you can stream WCRN on your computer or on your phone at WCRNradio.com and on your Amazon Alexa by saying, "Alexa, listen to WCRN." On the radio, in your car, on your computer or phone. We are Full Service Radio AM 830 WCRN.
We know why you're awake. Your child is about to get their driver's license. Levante's Auto School offers 1-week driving programs to help make sure your child stays safe and focused behind the wheel.
877 Drive Ed. Who's Ed? That's the number for Levante's Auto School.
Learn to drive safely and efficiently. Visit one of our 5 locations throughout Massachusetts. Click Levante'sAutoSchool.com.
Levante's Auto School shows you how to learn the rules and keep your cool. 877 Drive Ed. Who's Ed? That's the number for Levante's Auto School.
You're listening to the Joe Mangiacotti Show on Powerhouse Station WCRN and our affiliates. To talk to Joe, dial 508-871-7000, and you can text Joe on air in real time at 617-297-8388, or email textjoeontheradio@gmail.com. And now back to the most interesting man in the world. Sharks have a week dedicated to him. Common sense talk for the common sense citizen.
All right, folks, welcome back to the second half of the first half hour of the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Boxdrop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios, 508-871-7000. It's talking about fentanyl and the problem in this country. This is from the MAA, American Medical Association. So they have Dr. Bobby Magumala is the board chair, and they're saying, look, as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to devastate families and communities across the U.S., we cannot ignore that illicit fentanyl is fueling the nation's drug overdose epidemic. Again, it's not overdose. When you put poison into something and they don't know that it's, and that's not what they're taking. So I still don't refer to this as an overdose, guys, but this is how they refer to it. And primary responsible for the deaths of more than 100,000 people last year alone. Now, unless policymakers take action in 2022 to update the rules and laws that are enabling or worsening overdose epidemic, more Americans will die and more families will suffer preventable tragedies. The stakes are high. Deaths are an epidemic right now in the U.S., touching virtually every state. About 60% of those deaths in the past year are linked to illicitly manufactured or adulterated fentanyl, with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration seizing nearly 10 million fake pills. 10 million fake pills. Last year alone, many laced with counterfeit fentanyl. We have to act with evidence-based public health interventions to limit the risk of the harm that these overdoses are doing. First, it's far past time for policymakers and other key stakeholders to remove barriers to evidence-based treatment for substance use disorder. See, multiple states cut addiction treatment programs from their yearly budget. They did it in 2020. Ongoing state budgetary challenges do not help at all. See, all 50 states in the District of Columbia reported a spike or increase in overdose numbers during COVID-19 pandemic. But that we had this, and this is what the Johns Hopkins report came out, that the lockdowns, the staying home from work, not being able to go to public venues or even the beach or the park, all of this stuff has increased all of these negative things in our lives, right? Domestic abuse, child abuse, suicide, attempted suicide, drug addiction, drug overdose, drug use, alcohol use. It's all gone up. And then we've got the entire discussion as to what it's done to our children in schools and how they've fallen behind. Our young children aren't developing because they don't get those facial cues. There's so much there that we can talk about. But this is another byproduct of the COVID-19 pandemic, but it was a big problem long before anyone ever heard of a Wuhan lab, folks. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Let me go to Fred in Worcester, who's been waiting. Fred, good afternoon.
Hey, Joe. How you doing there, my friend?
Oh, excellent. How are you, man?
Good. So, Joe, I was kind of thinking that with the fentanyl crisis out there, one of the bigger issues, too, I don't think it has any fentanyl in it, but is the synthetic drug. It's a synthetic opiate. Goes by the name of K2.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, I have actually. And what's your take on it?
If you're ever around Worcester, anywhere, and you see someone walking, and you say to yourself, how haven't they hit the pavement?
Yeah.
You'll know as soon as you see them. The chances are they're on K2.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a synthetic version of THC.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a psychoactive ingredient in marijuana, and this is a K2 spice, they call it. So it's a mixture of plant material sprayed with this synthetic K2.
I understand it's about 30 times more powerful than regular marijuana.
Yeah, and again, what's going on with K2? It's the same thing, right? The druggie, I don't know what we call them, the drug dealers or the drug providers, because it's illicit. They're spiking it with K2. So the people aren't necessarily saying, oh, now you can go right to a dispensary, right? But still people are using their street dealers or whatever, and they're going to these people and they're saying, yeah, give me a dime bag. I don't know if that's still the term they call it, right? Dime bag. Okay. I got to check with Jazz on this stuff. Yeah. Dime bag, give me my cannabis, give me my pot, weed, whatever it is. And they're lacing it with K2, the synthetic stuff. And then they're tripping big time because it's going to be a heck of a lot more powerful than the all natural weed that they might be used to. And yeah, I've seen those people, Fred, right? You're like, wow. I mean, they're defying physics that they don't fall over. They lean so far over and then they come back up, and you swear that they're tied to invisible lines or a spring or something. But yeah. And you don't know. That's the thing. You can drive through Worcester. You can drive through, Fall River or Boston, Springfield, major cities, Lowell, wherever. I mean, and not even just, it's happening everywhere, folks. It doesn't have to be a major city. Nope. But you'll see in the major cities areas where they're, whether it's the homeless tent area or what have you, and that's gotten to be a huge problem in Boston if you haven't been paying attention to that. And you see people and they're on something. You have no idea what it is, but
Joe?
Yeah.
Joe, one of the problems too in society is that this country has had such the insatiable appetite for over the years for anything from heroin to marijuana to cocaine, and this is the price we pay.
Yeah. It is. It is. I know some people. I mean, where do you stand on the legalization of, say, marijuana and other drugs? Do you think it helps or do you think it hurts?
I honestly, obviously, there's been enough crying about it, to make it legal. So they might as well make at least, just the marijuana legal so they can really get the taxes.
Yeah. Well, they have. I mean, these dispensaries are making a fortune. Of course, they still in the irony of this is right that so states have legalized marijuana. You can go down the street here. I go down Route 9 and I think I pass 4 or 5 of them between, the station and my home. You see them along Route 9 and Framingham area, what have you. And they're making some money, tons of money. But because of the federal law, they can't actually use credit card services. They can't put it into the bank. So they have the whole issue of a big cash business. So they always have these security guards and armored car transportation because the federal laws haven't caught up with these state laws. So now you have that problem. But you have now, farmed, right? It's grown in controlled environment. It's measured. You can go in there. You can say, I want something without I don't want to get high from it. I just want the relief in my joints and the pain and all of the medical benefits that come with cannabis. Or you can say, just, give me a chewy or brownie or something that's just going to get me high, and you can get whatever you want. And you're fairly confident it's not going to be laced with K2 or anything else. So that's the good part of it, right? And that's the argument that people have about legalizing the drugs is you've got it in a pharmaceutical environment and it's controlled. Plus, we know what's being sold and we're getting the taxes. We're getting that sales tax. And that is billions of dollars of money that's changing hands in the drug trade every year. And and that's part before legalizing cannabis. It was a part of the underground economy. And the underground economy is still a huge part of our ecosystem, part of our ecosystem. It's big time there. So then the question becomes, well, do we start getting into legalizing the other things like cocaine, heroin? I mean, opiates are in essence, they're legalized because every day people are prescribed Oxycontin or Oxycodone. They're prescribed opiates for pain relief and pain management. Even fentanyl, when used correctly, right, as a pharmaceutical under the care of a doctor, it has its role in our medical world. But it's this fentanyl, the black market fentanyl, that's being manufactured in these clandestine laboratories and illegally infiltrated into the country, mostly through our southern border, that's hitting the street. And I gave you the numbers: over 100,000 dead. It's tripled the death among our teenagers, right? Among black teenagers, it's 5-fold. It's doubled in 30 states. It's 5-fold in 5 different states. And it's a serious problem. And I refuse to refer to them as overdose, Fred, because they're being laced and these people are taking it and they've either ordered another pill or another drug that they thought they're going to have, or they're ordering, or maybe they're doing illicit drug and it's laced with it. They have no idea. And as far as I'm concerned, as far as the law is concerned, that is poison. And therefore that is murder. Fred, I got to hold you there because we're against the bottom of the hour. Thank you, brother.
Bye.
All right, folks, 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. We're going to take a quick break here in the bottom of the hour. The Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Boxtrap Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studio. Stick with us. Back on the other side.
This is Full Service Radio, AM 830, WCRN, Worcester, Metro West.
I'm Ed Donahue with an AP News Minute. The international efforts to head off a Russian invasion of Ukraine are intensifying.
President Biden today is hosting German Chancellor Olaf Scholz at the White House to coordinate policies, with concerns intensifying that Russia will invade Ukraine. President Biden, returning to the White House Sunday night, was asked about President Putin's security demands.
I think things he cannot get.
President Biden also spoke Sunday with French President Emmanuel Macron, who's holding talks with Vladimir Putin at the Kremlin. Lawmakers say they've been briefed by the White House that a full Russian invasion of Ukraine could lead to the fall of the capital, Kyiv, and bring potentially as many as 50,000 casualties. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Starting March 7th, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy will end a statewide mask mandate that was instituted to protect against the coronavirus in schools and child care centers. I'm Ed Donahue.
Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-459-6164. Vehicle protection plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-459-6164 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-459-6164. What do you have to lose? Call 800-459-6164. Again, 800-459-6164.
Time now for the forecast from the Boston Independence Group Weather Center. Call Jerry Doherty today at 877-772-1776. Retirement is within reach.
I'm meteorologist Jason Brewer. Here's the latest Boston 25 weather on Radio 830 WCRN. A winter weather advisory in effect for central Mass today with some minor snow accumulation that'll cause anything untreated to get slick. Highs will be in the mid and upper 30s this afternoon. Then tonight, rain with lows just above freezing for most. Then tomorrow, morning rain, then a little afternoon sun with highs around 40. I'm Jason Brewer. You can hear Boston 25 live for the morning drive weekdays on AM 830 WCRN.
Another marvelous Monday in New England. I'm Ted A. Here are some historic facts that happened on February 7th. In 1795, the 11th Amendment to the United States Constitution is ratified, affirming the power of the states. In 1943, shoe rationing begins in the United States. In 1945, Douglas MacArthur returns to Manila. In 1950, Joe McCarthy finds communists in the United States Department of State. In 1959, Fidel Castro proclaims a new Cuban constitution. In 1962, JFK begins blockade of Cuba. In 1965, the United States begins regular bombing and air attacks in North Vietnam. In 1974, Symbionese Liberation Army claims responsibility for kidnapping heiress Patty Hearst. The WCRN News is brought to you by John the Roofer, a leader in the roofing and home improvements business for more than 70 years. Call 866-906-ROOF or go to the internet and see johnTheRoofer.com.
You're listening to the Joe Mangiacotti Show on Powerhouse Station WCRN and our affiliates. To talk to Joe, dial 508-871-7000, and you can text Joe on air in real time at 617-297-8388, or email textjoeontheradio@gmail.com. And now back to the most interesting man in the world. His tears cure cancer. Too bad he never cries. Common sense talk for the common sense citizen.
All right, folks, welcome back to the second half of the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Box Shop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios, 508-871-7000. Jazz, we're in a winter advisory? I didn't realize that. Okay, so just it's not going to be snow, just slippery, slick?
The weather's been so weird lately. It's supposed to start with rain, and then you know how it goes. When it gets dark, it's going to get cold, so it might switch
It's
over.
that icy rain, yeah. Yeah, I pretty much have to wash the car every time on my way home, and between the car wash and the garage, it's still It's horrible.
Crazy, isn't it?
Can't keep the car clean. I hate that. All right, folks, 508-871-7000. So I'm going to get into this Freedom Convoy situation, but let me go to the phones first. Ken in Bolton wanted to comment on fentanyl. Hey, Ken, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe.
Fentanyl.
So today's our daily quiz. What's the most infamous fentanyl poisoning story? In other words, the person who was most infamous for it.
I don't know. Who did we lose? That's the most infamous person that we lost to fentanyl poisoning.
George Floyd.
Oh, that's right. He had it in his system, right?
Yeah, only like the 3 times the lethal level.
Yeah.
That's all.
By no means does that mean kneeling on his neck was okay, guys. I mean, let's get that straight. That's the
Agreed. But there was more kneeling on the back. I mean, biologically, if you break it down, it obviously didn't help him, but there's a pretty good chance he was in the process of dying from the fentanyl poisoning, more so than what the cop did. Don't care to go down that road.
Yeah, I'm not going to go down that road right now. We've allocated on this enough.
Here's what's so interesting. I think you've hit on a topic that the left uses as a decoy. So here's the point. The real story is, well, maybe the cop should have gotten the punishment he had, and the pusher should have been put in jail too for killing him.
Oh, 100%. And this is the point I'm making, Ken, is, folks, this is not a mistake in a user taking too much, too potent of what they know they were taking. You know what I'm saying? It's not, they didn't take too much heroin. They didn't take it too quickly. None of that. This is poison. This is murder. They have laced it. I'm venturing to say that George Floyd probably didn't know he was taking fentanyl. He took a drug laced with fentanyl, probably. Who's to say? We can't ask that now. But the point is, this is what's happening all across the board, that this is poisoning. When you, as a drug dealer, manufacturer, and we have these illicit, these clandestine illicit labs who are lacing other drugs or jamming this. Now they can do nasal sprays, but they can also make them into a pill form, and they sell them under another name, and you think you're buying something. That's murder. And if we were to determine and designate this as a weapon of mass destruction, that opens an entire new set in the toolbox for Homeland Security in the DOJ. And where is the DOJ with this?
Well, here's the thing. I'll answer the 2 questions I have. A, where does it come from? Where does this chemical come from?
China.
How does it get here over the porous border? So that being the case, and you're bringing up the issue, why? Is the Biden administration not doing anything about this? No. But is the Biden administration going to leverage this story to something other clandestine? And do you think you know what I mean?
No, tell me where you're going with this.
Well, we've got to do something about this. There's money being transacted using this fentanyl. So let's create a digital currency. Why? We have to create a digital currency. So hand over your dollars.
I see what you're saying. So this is going to be a push for us to go to all digital online money, get rid of cash. Yeah. Cash is no longer something. I think the pushback is going to be far too great for that. First of all, you'd have to overcome the first argument, right? Well, the marginalized people are going to be affected by this who don't have bank accounts. Right now, there's a huge business in these prepaid cards, right? Even people who are, say, on Social Security or disability can have the money deposited onto these cards. They're not a bank account. They're just a card you carry. And that's it. You pay your stuff off the card. It gets replenished. And that's going to be a big argument, right? Because there are a lot of people who don't have bank accounts. I know that most of you listening to me, most of everybody you know, everybody has a bank account, a credit card or two, but there's a good number in the population that don't have bank accounts. and they don't
But-
operate that way. And they
Joe,
operate in cash. But this is
what's
why
the
they
other
went
part?
after the $600. You know that, Ken, right?
But what's the other part of this story? You think you're going to have your own bank account with your own bank? Who do you think is the bank in the future?
Well, that's it. And we've even got, right, this nominee Biden puts forth literally wants to do away with the private banking in this country, and all bank accounts become property of the government. That's where all your money goes. And then you're allowed to take the money out based on what you need. Yes, based on what you need. You need to basically ask that I need to take some of my money because I got to pay my mortgage. Oh, that's okay to pay your mortgage. And I got to do this. I want to buy a new car. No, you're going to have to start asking permission to use your own money. That's where that's going. And I think that someday we'll get to that kind of world. I don't know if I'll see it in my lifetime.
I don't think, Joe. I think they're planning all of this. And if they write it down, they state it out loud, they put it in books. They are planning all these things we're talking about. You know,
Yeah.
Some people listening may think, "Oh man, these people are conspiracy nuts." No.
No. I mean, come on. In most like futuristic books and movies, right? Don't you? Money's not even Star Trek. Money doesn't exist, or you have credits, right? There are credits and stuff like that, and it's universal. Right now, we're seeing a lot of uncertainty with the American dollar, right? This is now the Fed has to start really. It's a balancing act coming up, right, to try to lessen inflation without destroying the economy, right? But we got to slow it down, and we got to slow it down by raising the rates. So they got to do their job at the Fed, which is even really what is the Fed, right? It's some kind of quasi government. It's a private bank, really.
Yeah,
So it's a very weird, delicate financial system that we have, and this whole thing about going after the $600 transaction is just another way for the government to have pretty much an open hand to look in almost everybody's bank account without any warrants or probable cause or reason to have to do that. At least there used to be the pretense that your bank account was private and they needed a warrant to pull your records. At least that was, kind of the pretense. However, your bank account is pretty exposed. Ask anybody who has like child support, right? Because DOR monitors your bank accounts. You let a couple bucks sit in there too long and you owe child support, it's gone, right? They're going to grab it. You owe back taxes, they're going to grab it. The IRS, all over it. So this pretense is really a facade that your bank account is secure. And I think this has led to more and more mattress money these days. I bet you there's more mattress money today than there was 10 years ago.
It could be, but I think while we're outlining what could happen in the next few years, I think the public is smartening up, and you're going to lead into the story across the border. And so before you do, let me just announce that I checked first thing this morning, and the replacement for GoFundMe, Give, Send, Go, has collected $4.2 million. That was as of about 6 this morning. It's probably well over $5 million now. So it's a great story, and it'll be coming here.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about that and what GoFundMe did and what they were going to try to do with that money. But this is just that story is getting bigger and bigger, and they're trying to squash it, and they don't want to pay attention to it. But I like your take on the fentanyl. Again, I'm sorry, it's not an overdose, people. That's poison. And a huge problem, or a huge part of this, if we had a secured border, north and south, and we actually recognized and protected our sovereign nation and our sovereign border, this would be much less of a problem. We have the ability. We have the technology. We could shut our border down years ago. I had a friend who flew an Orion P-3, which was just built as an anti-sub, but it was really a spy plane. And he told me we can cut a fly couldn't cross the border if we didn't want it. But Ken, I'm against the clock. I have to take a break here, folks. We'll come back with the fourth and final segment of the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Middlesex Box Wrap Mattress Outlet Studio. Stick with us. Back on the other side. Hey folks, Joe Mangiacotti here, and I have recently purged and refreshed with new furniture and, most importantly, a new bed. We spend about a third of our life on our mattresses, and it's so vital we have the right one, and we don't break the bank to do that. I first bought a mattress from the big store the brothers used to own, and a power base that moved the head and feet, and then I met John, and I checked out his showroom at 50 Main Street in Ashland and online at boxdropmiddlesex.com, and ended up with a better mattress, a power base that also heats and massages, all for less than half of what I was going to spend at the other place. Box Drop is a discount mattress store, and John specializes in clearance and closeouts, and he buys directly from the manufacturer with a low overhead and just family employees, passing the savings on to you, and you can see it reflected in the price every day. Click boxdropmiddlesex.com or call John on his cell. This is his cell number, 508-579-9303. That's 508-579-9303. And you can find John on Facebook at Box Drop Middlesex. John loves referrals, and this is the best referral I've given so far this year. Dropboxmiddlesex.com.
If you enjoy listening to Full Service Radio AM 830 WCRN, don't forget you can stream WCRN on your computer or on your phone at WCRNradio.com and on your Amazon Alexa by saying, Alexa, listen to WCRN. On the radio, in your car, on your computer or phone. We are Full Service Radio AM 830 WCRN.
Hey folks, Joe Mangiacotti here, and I have recently purged and refreshed with new furniture and, most importantly, a new bed. We spend about a third of our life on our mattresses, and it's so vital we have the right one, and we don't break the bank to do that. I first bought a mattress from the big store the brothers used to own, and a power base that moved the head and feet, and then I met John, and I checked out his showroom at 50 Main Street in Ashland and online at boxdropmiddlesex.com, and ended up with a better mattress, a power base that also heats and massages, all for less than half of what I was going to spend at the other place. Box Drop is a discount mattress store, and John specializes in clearance and closeouts, and he buys directly from the manufacturer with a low overhead and just family employees, passing the savings on to you, and you can see it reflected in the price every day. Click boxdropmiddlesex.com or call John on his cell. This is his cell number, 508-579-9303. That's 508-579-9303. And you can find John on Facebook at Box Drop Middlesex. John loves referrals, and this is the best referral I've given so far this year. Dropboxmiddlesex.com.
We know why you're awake. Your child is about to get their driver's license. Levante's Auto School offers 1-week driving programs to help make sure your child stays safe and focused behind the wheel.
877 Drive Ed.
Who's Ed? That's the number for Levante's Auto School.
Learn to drive safely and efficiently. Visit one of our 5 locations throughout Massachusetts. Click LevantesAutoSchool.com.
Levante's Auto School shows you how to learn the rules and keep your cool. 877 Drive Ed.
Who's Ed? That's the number for Levante's Auto School.
You're listening to the Joe Mangiacotti Show on Powerhouse Station WCRN and our affiliates. To talk, dial 508-871-7000, and you can text Joe on air in real time at 617-297-8388 or email textjoeontheradio@gmail.com. And now back to the most interesting man in the world. He brings a knife to a gunfight just to make the odds even. Common sense talk for the common sense citizen.
All right, folks, welcome back to the fourth and final segment of the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Box Drop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. 508-871-7000, 508-871-7000. So, yeah, Freedom Convoy, folks, we've been watching this up in Canada. And what's interesting is amazing how much other networks aren't covering it. I mean, to have a state senator come in for Saturday show and don't even know about this Freedom Convoy taking place. Out to dinner the other night. A couple people at the table didn't know anything about it. And I'm thinking, really? That's kind of amazing. So the Freedom Convoy started with Ottawa, right? That this is protesting the vax mandates for these truckers to cross into the state, deliver their goods, to do their job. Minding you that this is probably one of a handful of jobs where their job description is to sit alone in the cab of a vehicle, mile after mile, hour after hour, day after day, alone, and not affecting anyone. So now this is broken any record of a convoy. It exceeds 40 miles, and Canada's going nuts about it, right? Justin Trudeau is trying to build these truck drivers as bad, negative people, right? These were the guys and the women who, during the height of the pandemic, were still driving those rigs and getting the toilet paper and the food and everything we needed to the supermarkets and the stores, where mostly teenagers and stock boys and girls were keeping the shelves filled. And they were working in what was everywhere else a lockdown. And they were heroes. Now they're supposed to be these out of control people. And of course, it has picked up such attention. So many people have supported them. They're bringing them food, and the truck drivers are doing crazy things like feeding the homeless, right? And shoveling out elderly housing and things like that. Those crazy right-wing Trumps or nut jobs, what they're doing. And of course, the truckers here in the United States say, you know what? We agree. This is ridiculous, right? And a lot of the problems that we have with the supply chain and all those ships off the coast of California have to do with not having enough truckers to clear the docks so that the other ships can come in, unload their cargo. Because you can't unload the truck, right? Excuse me, can't unload a ship that's 3 football fields long of shipping containers if there's no room on the dock to put them down, and if there are no truck drivers to pick those up and get them the hell out of there. Yeah, they can't do it. And there's a few reasons. A lot of it has to do with the crazy vaccination mandates there. And a lot of it has to do with Governor Newsom's 1099 thing 2 years ago. To work in California, you can't be an independent contractor. You can't be a 1099 employee. You have to be W-2. Well, truck drivers, by definition, most truck drivers are a small business. They own their rig. They take contract work. Not all truck drivers are employed by Walmart, right, or a trucking company, and they're on a W-2. A lot of them bid for these jobs. There was a whole TV show about truckers who bid on jobs, and they would follow them around with the camera and show you what they go through and how they bid and packing and shipping. So that's how they work. So, of course, the United States truck drivers say, hey, we agree with this, and this is something we should do too. And I'm telling you, when the weather gets a little bit better, you're going to see the motorcycles jump on board here. We've already seen, right, motorcycle, what do they call them, rides, right? Rides going to D.C. And again, media doesn't try to cover this. So a Facebook page organizing protests here against vaccine mandates has been removed by the social media giant Facebook. Rolling long haulers, I guess that'd be plural, right? Long haulers, blasting them for the censorship at its finest. The Freedom Convoy of truckers, following the lead of their Canadian counterparts, they were going to drive from California to D.C. in opposition to vaccine rules nationwide. Now, the group's, it was called Convoy to DC 2022 page on Facebook, was removed this past Wednesday. They said for violating policies around QAnon. Yeah, get that. Jeremy Johnson, he's a trucker who set up that Facebook group. Well, he said his personal profile was also removed. Why? He didn't put a thing about this on his personal. That's just punitive. Facebook is going after him. They're going to wipe him out and silence him. This is where I say, folks, it's enough is enough. These companies are too big to be able to have this much power. It is time we either classify them as a public utility or we marbell them and say they've got to break up. You got to have multiple companies. You have to competition. And there are competition, and there are sites out there. Rumble is one, right? Trying to go against YouTube. There are others out there trying to go against this, but they squash you. Look at when Parler tried to get up and running, right? Kind of an answer to Twitter. They go to their buddies, Jeff Bezos over at Amazon, and say, don't let them use any of your AWS. And for those that don't know it, AWS is Amazon Web Service. Amazon service, their servers are huge. That's where a lot of their money comes from. When you go to Sears, you use your MasterCard, your credit card, right? You use so many different companies out there, Airbnb, whatever it is. All that traffic is going through Amazon Web Service, through their servers, acres and acres of these computers. And they shut them down because they don't want them to have a voice. Now, if they were regular, non-political, non-biased people running these corporations, they would look at it as commerce. It's commerce, and you have no right to do that to them. So Jeremy Johnson's personal page is also removed. He's told Fox News, hey, they like to silence people that speak the truth. Brian Brass, who helped organize the U.S. trucker protest as well, said he was troubled by the alleged censorship without further clarification from Facebook's parent company, Meta. That's what they call themselves now, right? Now, Mike Landis, he's another long-haul trucker involved in the movement. He said the protest has been a long time coming and that America or Americans are fatigued by ongoing government overreach in the form of pandemic-related mandates. We've had this conversation about the power, the overreach, the guise of it. And now that we listen to, for months and months, follow the science, follow the science, follow the science, when the science doesn't support what they want to do, they stop listening to the science and they don't let you point out the science anymore. Now, the interesting thing about this up in Canada is now the Canadian police are arresting people who are bringing them food. If you try to bring the truckers food or fuel, because these trucks are, they're going to run and they're stuck there, right? They're going to arrest you. Police are clamping down on self-described Freedom Convoy anti-vaccine mandate demonstrations. They have made multiple arrests, issuing hundreds of tickets, and even seizing vehicles and fuel as Ottawa's mayor declared a state of emergency. So when truckers decide to protest, they declare a state of emergency. When organizations like Antifa and BLM protest, COVID regulations or rules are out the window. You can be a super spreader event. Thousands of people can gather shoulder to shoulder. You can burn courthouses and buildings and break into storefronts, shoot police officers, throw cans of peas at them, frozen water bottles, urine, bleach. No state of emergency. They're just a mostly peaceful protest exercising their freedom of speech. But these truckers, we have to declare a state of emergency. And it was designed to give officers more flexibility to respond to the hundreds and sometimes thousands of truckers and their supporters who are gathered in streets to denounce coronavirus measures. So this is crazy. I think that this Freedom Convoy in America will happen regardless of what Facebook does. Question is going to be, how is the Biden administration going to deal with it? Are they going to pull the same thing and have Merrick Garland write a memo to the DOJ and the FBI and say, hey, use those terrorist tags, turn our truck drivers into domestic terrorists for peacefully protesting? What say you? I don't know. Folks, this is going to wrap up the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830, WCRN and our affiliates. Thank you for joining me. Thursday morning, 10 o'clock. Don't forget, Political Thursday. I'm back Saturday and Sunday morning starting at 6 a.m. And, of course, follow me on all social media platforms at Joe Mangi Show, M-A-N-G-I, Joe Mangi Show. All right, that's it. Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Box Shop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. There's a winter weather advisory in place, folks.